Welcome back everyone, Jazzman here with another FPL video. Now this week's video we are going to go over the double game week 19, all the changes that have happened, the teams that are playing and everything that I think that could help get you up that table and up that mini league rank. Now if you do find yourself getting any use out of this video and you find yourself getting a green arrow this week, please give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment, do something on the video. Don't be just a guy that rolls in, steals some information, be a mouth breather and then up and leaves. Give me a little push. Every little bit helps, guys. So please just drop a like, give us a sub or a comment. It means the world. Now let's jump right in. I've got a couple of teams to go over. I've got a team that is a more safe team with a few punty kind of guys to put in there. And I've got a team that is a much more heavily punted team, and that's focused around the Aston Villa team. So let's get into it. Tell me what you think. Hopefully these guys, some of these players will help you do it, and we can go climbing up some leagues this week. Now first off, I figured I'd start with the fixtures. Now this is the same fixture kind of sheet that I had in my previous Game Week 19 double game week video, but I've also added in what I think will happen in these fixtures, just to give us a bit more of an inkling as to what to expect. Now granted, these are just my predictions going off of previous form, what I know about the league, the games I've watched, etc, etc. So, you know, I'll be putting bets on some of these. If they come off, brilliant, I'll be making a bit of coin. Feel free to jump on the bandwagon too, but who knows, these could swing anyway. But first off, we're going to start with the team that I think has the best run in this weekend, and that is West Ham. They are at home to Burnley and West Brom. Now, on paper, and the form that West Ham's been in, this should be 2 wins for West Ham. I'm predicting a 2-1 scrappy-ish kind of game against Burnley. They'll win. And I'm predicting a pretty much an easy romp against West Brom, 3-0. Now, what that kind of means is focus as much as you can your team around West Ham players. Now, granted, West Ham players aren't particularly expensive, so you can fit a 3-man West Ham team in your team pretty easily and on the cheap. So my advice this week, Antonio. He is the guy that everybody should be putting in their team. He's gonna play 90 minutes. He's their only striker they've got at the moment, and he's only 6.2, and he's come back from injury. So he's gonna slip under the radar for a lot of people who aren't paying close attention to the league and are kind of just there making standard changes, playing on numbers previous weeks. So Antonio is a big punt in my team this week, and no matter which team I put together, I'll be putting Antonio in it. He is a linchpin for most teams, and considering that the forward line at the moment is hard to predict, especially in this double game week where there's not a lot of strikers in form and playing a double game week, he is probably the most sought after striker at the moment, and he'll probably be in a lot of teams, and I'm predicting him to be on the score sheet. In second place this week we've got Manchester City. I think they've probably got the second best run of this double game week, and they've been in excellent form. Palace at home, Villa at home. Villa obviously is a little bit more of a tricky game, but Villa have obviously had the last 2 weeks out, COVID, no training, so who knows what Villa's going to turn up. They could turn up super rested and run them off the park, or they could turn up completely disjointed and untrained and find themselves getting dominated by a Man City team. So I've gone conservative. I've gone a 2-0 win against Palace, and I've gone a 1-0 win against Villa. Now, who knows? We know Man City. They could turn up. They could boss the game. They could win 5-0 against Palace, like Liverpool ran through them 7-0. So, you know, it could be a romping. It could also be what they did last week. Last game, it was like a 1-0 win. You know, pretty comfortable, nothing out of the ordinary. They didn't push them to exceed too much. They got a penalty, they missed it, but it didn't matter. So Man City have been very solid. The thing with Man City is the backline is super solid. So if you find yourself looking for some defenders to get in, I recommend the Man City guys. You know, your Diaz's, your Stones, your Cancelos, and even Edison in goals isn't a bad shout either. Obviously up front and in the midfield, it's hard to predict who is going to play. Man City obviously chop and change their team quite a lot, but you've got safe option like De Bruyne and Sterling. Those two guys almost play every minute of every game. So Sterling obviously missed a penalty this morning. That's hurting a little bit, and people will probably jump off the bandwagon because of that, but don't write him off. Sterling will be involved. He probably will score goals, and against Palace especially, he's going to find space. So he's a good shout, so don't shy away from him. The other one is Phil Foden. Obviously, he's come into the team every time he's been called upon and pretty much scored a goal, been involved in something. He is phenomenal. The only problem you've got is, will he play 90 minutes in 2 games? We don't know. So he's a differential player. Who knows? He might play 90 minutes in one and 15 in the other and rock up and score a couple of goals and clean up. So keep him in the back of your head, back of your mind. So third place, I think I'm going to go with Chelsea. They've got probably the third best run in this weekend. And granted, this game weekend with all these double game weeks, there might be a lot of games getting played, but other than really West Ham, nobody has a clear-cut, easy 2 games. So, you know, Chelsea have got Fulham and Leicester. Now, granted, Chelsea have been a bit out of form. Obviously, Frank's under quite a lot of pressure at the moment. So, who knows what Chelsea turn up. You know, it's been a little while. Maybe they turn up and smack Fulham and then obviously turn up and have a decent game against Leicester. And Leicester obviously a pain in the ass to play against at any point in time. So, who knows? I've gone with a 3-1 win against Fulham, and I've gone with a 1-1 draw against Leicester. And again, Leicester game could be, you know, a 3-0 win. It could be a 2-0 loss. Who knows? My advice on Chelsea is take a punt. These guys are going to probably be hidden away because of their form. So their recent form's not been great. So people are going to kind of shy away from them. So they could be a very big differential team this weekend. People like Timo Werner, who has obviously just got on the score sheet in the cup rounds, could be a shout. You know, we're missing forwards at the moment. You know, there's not been a lot of them playing up front in this double game week who are in form. Werner probably will play. He probably will play both games. Probably will get 90 minutes, and he has started scoring. So maybe this is the time. Maybe this is where he shows up and shows Chelsea why they paid so much money for him. Another option is Mendy in goals. You know, prior to this recent poor run of form, he was the most informed keeper in the league. Again, if they're looking for if you're looking for a goalkeeper to replace, say, the Aston Villa keeper Martinez or whoever you've got in goals at the moment, and he's on the relatively cheap side, like 5.1 mil, Mendy's not a bad shout either. And obviously, in the back line, you've got Ben Chilwell. So, you know, a pretty safe option too. And even Kurt Zouma, he scores quite a few goals too. Now, in the next spacing, I've got in 4th place the Liverpool team. Now, they've got, obviously, Liverpool and Man U have each other this week. That makes it tough. Obviously, someone's going to not perform well, someone's going to perform well. You know, there's going to be some clean sheets gone or something, or the blanks in the forward line. Now, I'm leaning towards Liverpool winning. Obviously, being a home game, Liverpool haven't lost in, 3 years. So, I got the feeling they're going to go and step up over these guys, get a 2-1 win. Now, this could be anything. It could be a 0-0 draw like last time. It could be, I don't know, a 2-0 win to Manchester United and Liverpool's, you know, tumbling out of the title race pretty quickly. Or Liverpool could just turn up and run through them. Who knows? This could go any way. That's why I've been pretty conservative with Liverpool. I still don't trust their form at the moment. As a Liverpool fan, the football we're playing is still very disjointed. So I've gone with the Burnley game even being very tight too at home. I'm going with 2-2-1 wins. So I've also gone with the differential of Mane over Salah. It's a big call, but from the form that I've seen of Salah, he hasn't been great. Trent back in the team, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, Trent steps back up to being as good as he was the previous years. If he is, and he does that, that's where Mane comes in. Mane will run his socks off all game. He will put in 100% effort no matter how the result is going or how bad the team is playing. He's the guy that has Liverpool in his veins. So I'm going to go with Mane. Save yourself a little bit of money. Save yourself a massive differential too, because nobody's going to be backing Mane over Salah. So if Liverpool pull their finger out and turn up and perform in these 2 games, Mane will be the guy that I believe will carry them over the line. He's done it many times before. So keep that in the back of your mind. As for Manchester United, obvious people is obvious. Fernandes. If you don't have Fernandes in your team, you're really handicapping yourself. So get him in your team, pretty much, no matter what. You're going to have De Bruyne and you're going to have Fernandes. They're going to be two key people, and probably you're going to find most people have Salah. Now, like I said, that's where I'm swapping it out. The other option is Wan-Bissaka. Have him in your backline and not have Harry Maguire. Now, the reasoning I would say to not have Harry Maguire is he is 1 yellow card away from a red card against Manchester United. Against Liverpool. If he rocks up and gets himself a yellow card, there goes that double game week. So, you know, sure, he might score a goal. Sure, he might be on the end of something like he was the other day that got cancelled out. But is the risk of him not playing and then getting a red card and losing all of his points, getting a -2 and then not playing the second game, worth it? Or if Man U close out Liverpool and close out Fulham, you're going to get 12 points. So, safe option, go Wan-Bissaka. Who knows, he might even get himself a little assist or something. So, that's a key point there. Other players from Man U, obviously, you've got people like Rashford, Martial, and even Cavani. You know, been in form, been playing lately. They're all differential players. I don't know. I wouldn't put them in my team personally. I don't trust them all enough. If any of the three, I'd put in Rashford. He's probably the top of the list on that. Been in form, scored a few goals, been involved the assist the other day. So, yeah, he might be the guy. Obviously, Pogba's been playing better football lately. Cavani's been involved in a lot. So, yeah, they're all players you can potentially put in depending on how much you trust Manchester United. So, but to myself, being safe, Wan-Bissaka, Fernandes, that should be a pretty safe bet. And in the last team I'd like to sort of bring up is the Spurs team. Now, both of my wildcards that I'm going to bring up in a sec don't have Spurs players in them, but don't rule out a Spurs whitewash of Sheffield United. Obviously, Sheffield have been bad this season. Now, I predict a 2-0 win because being Spurs, they'll only bang in a couple of goals and they'll kind of sit back. But they're not going to have any firepower going forward, Sheffield. So I don't see them scoring a goal and getting a 1-1 draw like Spurs did this morning. So obvious players are obvious. Son, you've got Kane. Those two guys are on fire. If you can fit both of them in your team, cool. You're going to probably score some points. If you can't, you got to pick one or the other. If you're looking to fill your forward line out, Kane. If you're looking to bring in a differential in that midfield, I'd bring in Son. Then you'd have Son, De Bruyne, Fernandes, Salah. It's a pretty stacked midfield. But finding all of those players, most people are going to own them. And to be honest, I don't see it paying off all that much. Your backline, you bring in people like your Davies, you like your two centre backs, was it Alderweireld and Dyer. Those two guys obviously can keep a clean sheet, no worries. So if you find yourself needing a centre back or something like that, then you can bring in one of those guys. So, but yeah, so that's my predictions. I'm predicting a 2-0 win as well for the Spurs team. Obviously a Harry Kane and a Son goal. Those two, go hand in hand. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is going to happen this weekend. Now, like I said, I've got two wildcard teams I want to go over. Now, one's a bit more safe than the other. The other's a bit more punty, I'd call it. So let's start with the safe team. Now, as you can see, it's got Mendy in goals for Chelsea. As I said, I predict he's going to have a pretty decent game week. Keep a clean sheet. Chelsea maybe get themselves back on track. Now, in the back line, I would be going with, personally, playing on the field, your Wan-Bissaka, Cresswell and Diaz. Obviously triple game weeks. Your bench will look pretty stacked. Dallas and Walker-Peters. Remember, if you're wildcarding this week, you don't just want to aim for a good game week 18. You kind of need to make sure your team is good heading out of game week 19. Because that's where everybody's going to fall over if they don't, and they're just aiming at 19. So that back line, everybody in this team will play other than Davies up front going forward. So you're going to have options on your bench. You're going to have people coming off the bench onto your field to help out. So Dallas and Walker-Peters, both solid, both cheap. Good options for later on. In your midfield, I've gone with Foden. He's your punt for Man City. Now, as I said, it's hard to predict which Man City player is going to play. You know, it could be Mahrez, it could be Gundogan that's rocking up, it could be Bernardo Silva, who knows? You know, Jesus is coming back from injury. So Foden, obviously, every time he's played, he's done well. He's scored goals. I don't know what more he needs to do for Pep to get in the team as a regular starter, but this kid is phenomenal. So 6.2 mil as a side punt, it's worth it. Why not? Go for it. You know, you've got the whole midfield playing double game week, so if he doesn't play off, he at least is going to play one of the games. He's at least going to play minutes in both. You know, who knows? He might just turn up and bang in a few goals. KDB, Fernandes, two lock players that are pretty much in every wildcard team, in every team going forward. If you don't have these guys, you're going to be missing out on big points. KDB obviously blanked in the previous week, but that doesn't happen too frequently. Fernandes, same thing, blanked in the previous game week. I don't see it happening these 2 game weeks. I don't see them going 3 games in a row and blanking for all 3. Not after the seasons these two have and the quality they have. In the midfield, I've gone with Mane over Salah. As I said, as a Liverpool fan, it's just my gut feeling. Mane is going to perform in those big games more frequently than Salah does. So I've gone with Mane. Hopefully he proves me right and the Salah doesn't perform well, I guess. You know, as a Liverpool fan, I want us to win, but as an FPL Liverpool fan, if I'm putting Mane in my team, Mane's the guy I want winning. I've also got Souček from West Ham. Now, this guy has been phenomenal in FPL this season. You know, he's playing CDM. He's a big, tall, 6'2" monster rolling into the box and he's banging goals in for fun. So, great pickup, 5.1. He's cheap, just like Foden. Good little punt. Get him in your team. Up front is where the damage is. It's hard to pick a forward line that's affordable and performing. Most people are probably going to go for someone like Kane or Vardy or something like that. They're going to have those big hitters. I've gone with the punt on Werner. I'm praying that he's had the FA Cup goal. He's got his finger out. He's figuring things out a bit. He's going to have a good run against Fulham, and then he's going to go into that Leicester game with a bit of confidence. So I've gone with Werner, 9.2 mil. He's in a punt. Nobody's going to have him. It's going to be an expense. Let's cross our fingers this time. This is the time that Werner pulls his finger out and does something. But worst case scenario, he doesn't. You've got Antonio, and I'm going to put a lot of money on that bloke being the key for West Ham in these next 2 games. So 6.2 mil, coming back from injury, probably under the radar. He's going to be low owned because people aren't going to pay attention. Can't miss him. Have him in your team. And then Davis is just to kind of fill out the field. So that's what I'm thinking. I would be playing a 3-5-2 as my team. So Wan-Bissaka, Cresswell, Diaz, Mendy in goals, the 5 in the midfield with Antonio and Werner up front. Now, the second team is a bit more of a punt team. So if you find yourself hanging around the bottom echelons of the league, you're in and you want to make a bit of a splash and kind of differentiate yourself from the other guys, this is a better team for that. Separating yourself, using a few different players, taking a punt on players that obviously, like none of these players are out of the blue players, but they're players that like, especially Aston Villa team, who we don't even know what's going on with them right now. And they could come back and be trash, who knows. So, starting from the back, I've gone with Ederson in goals. Now, as I said before, Man City have been solid in the back line. And, you know, I've been myself using the cheaper goalkeeper rotation. Maybe it's time I switch up and just go for a premium stick and never move goalkeeper. And, you know, who's better than Ederson, really? You got Alisson and Ederson, they're the guys. So, Ederson in goals, leave him going forward. You can almost leave him every single week. And if Man City keep up this play, he's going to bring in a lot of clean sheets. Backline's very similar to the previous one. Dallas, Wan-Bissaka. This one's got Romain Saiss in it though. Now, he is a attacking threat. I know Wolves aren't great defensively, but he has every opportunity to be on the end of a goal and banging 10, 11 points a week. If he gets on the end of 1 goal and a clean sheet, you're laughing. So he's a good differential kind of defender to have in your team. Again, Cresswell, double game week. Have him in there. He's going to perform. He's been on, I think he's got like 6 assists. It's crazy. He's a great player. And DS at the back, again, solid with Edison. This is where it gets a little bit more punty. I've gone with Grealish and putting him into the team. Now, I know Aston Villa have a tough run. So coming back from obviously the COVID break, no training, all of that kind of stuff, it's going to go one of two ways. They're either going to be disjointed and not work out, or they're going to be really refreshed coming out of the gates and have a great time. Which way does it go? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But Grealish is quality. He has performed all season, and especially in those big games. Like obviously they've got Man City in this double game week. So in those big games, Grealish has stepped up almost every single time. So this is where I've gone with it. If they play that double game week, having Grealish in your midfield, worst case scenario, he's going to play 2 games in 90 minutes. He's probably going to get on the end of an assist or a goal. He's going to be involved in almost everything. It's a punt. Have him in there. De Bruyne, Fernandes, again, lock. Mane, again, differential over Salah. Souček, again, cheap and double game week, and West Ham. Now I go to the front line. I've taken out that premium striker of Werner, and I've put in Ollie Watkins. Again, if Grealish performs and Aston Villa perform, Ollie Watkins is going to be there. Hopefully this bit of break that they've had has taught this guy how to score a goal, because by God, he misses some sitters. But if he can just put away the 1 or 2 of those chances that Grealish creates a game, where he's creating a handful of them for him a game, if he can just put away a few of them, Watkins is going to be a huge differential. And imagine that, Watkins and Antonio as your front line, 6.1, 6.2 mil, banging in goals, having a great double game week, while everybody's sitting on, I don't know, a Werner or a Kane or a Vardy, you know, or even Firmino or something like that. And you're going to be sitting there laughing, pissing yourself laughing. So, as I said, this team is a little bit more of a punt, a little bit more based around Aston Villa, obviously with Edison in goals. But again, going forward, it's a very solid team. Again, you've only got Davis, who is probably the weak link in the team, and Meisler in goals. And like Leeds keeper, you know, I've put the double there. So should Man City have a bad game week, you could probably rotate Leeds in and hope that, you know, 1 or 2 games where he really performs quite well. So I hope that video has been of some use to you. Hopefully you're taking some of the advice that I've mentioned. Maybe pick a team, 1 of the 2 teams that I put forward. Let me know how you go. I hope you see yourself getting a green arrow, moving up your mini leagues, and getting some increase in there. So if anything helps and you enjoyed the video, please sub, leave a like, leave a comment. I don't know, just do something for me. Come on, man, everything helps, and I get excited every time I see a comment pop up. So please just leave me something, and I'll make sure to reply. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.